Hmm. How's this working? Pretty good? So, I'm in the studio today, and I think I've managed to do a successful reamp. So that's basically when you take a dry guitar signal that's been recorded to the computer, send it out to an amp, and then do whatever you want with it. I chose to mic up the amps and run those microphones to our preamps, our external preamps, from the preamps to the computer, re-record them, see how it sounds. I haven't done this before like this. I did it when I was going to school in IPR. I reamped a guitar once in a class, but it wasn't quite like this. So I'll show you a little bit about what I'm doing, and then I'm gonna record it and move on. The song is called Passion Speaks Louder, and it's second to last song for a demo list I'm working on called Another Young Drunk. So I'm using Logic, and I've got my tracks right here. This is the Les Paul dry, and this is the G&L dry that I recorded straight by plugging into, let's see if I can get it, Firewire Solo, straight into the jack. So I'll show the guitars I used for those straight recordings. This is the Les Paul, Gibson Les Paul Studio Plus, and this is the G&L Stratocaster we've been using. And then out of the Firewire Solo, I'm going to two different amps. You can see the outputs here. I can line it up on the M Audio Firewire Solo. We've got my usual mess of chords. The first guitar, the Les Paul, is going to this Epiphone amp. It's just a little practice amp that I just bought, and we had to repair, but it works. And I have a ribbon microphone on that, MXL ribbon microphone. It's got a switch on it for clean and distorted, so when we switch from the verse to the chorus, I'm actually going to physically push the button. For the second guitar, for the G&L, I've got the K 1960s little amp, 5 water, with the Electro Voice E609, kind of kicked off to the side, 45-degree angle off the cone, and that's running to the Blacksmith, which is the distortion pedal I'm using for this guitar. So I'll be switching the clean and distorted channel on the Epiphone amp and the Blacksmith pedal at the same time. Kick into the chorus, kick out for the second verse. Same with the bridge. What I'm going to do now is go ahead and play back, show you what the tone sounds like, switching from clean to distorted through the amp, and then yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to do a quick video for. So here, I'll push play. I got them panned hard left and right too, so that they wouldn't be sending two guitars to one amp. But here's looks like it should work. I think what I'm going to do, just for the sake of brevity, is I'm going to set this up in the room so you can hear the switches. Go ahead and record, and then I'll come back to the computer. I'll mute the dead ones. I will pan those two out. I've programmed drums. I've got a dry bass, and then I've got backbone. So that's acoustic guitar and scratch vocal. So we can get a little bit of an idea of what the new guitars will sound like in the mix. May as well. So all you have to do is push record. The two tracks, Les Paul wet and G&L wet. So the other two are dry. So since these will have distortion and effects on them, it's considered wet. I just have to record. Those tracks are also muted because what I noticed with this setup anyway, I don't know if I'm doing something wrong, but if I have those new tracks unmuted, the signal from the amp goes out of the amp into the computer through the microphone and then back through the amp, and it creates a feedback loop and squeals like crazy. So that doesn't work. I just muted those tracks, which is, it's kind of unfortunate that I can't really hear what it sounds like, but if I need to redo it and change, I can change settings on the amps. I can change settings on the preamps, which I should show you here. These are the two preamps that we're using. The Les Paul is going through the Epiphone and into the Focusrite, and the G&L is going through the K and the Blacksmith and through the Joe Meek. So if I'm not satisfied with it, I could make changes. I think it sounds pretty good the way it is. We're going to roll with it and hope for the best. So here we go. I'm going to press record. The song starts clean, so there's no real rush to get in there. I just need to kick on the distortion by the time the first chorus hits, so that's not a problem. Might want to turn off the metronome. Might want to turn off the metronome. Undo, undo. Record. Here we go. Signal looks really, really good. The video that I watched about this was saying that you really don't want to clip on your reamp because it sounds horrible, and big issue with dynamic range. You want to contain that so that it still sounds natural. Just clipping off that tail. This one's pretty even. It's kind of interesting. Interesting wavelength on that one. Looks really symmetrical for certain. Symmetrical? I don't know. I want to put. I had the Les Paul and G&L backwards. I want the Les Paul on the left and the G&L on the right. This is my bass. This is my dry, so I'm going to mute that. This is my other dry. I'm going to mute that. Hook up my speakers here, which I was using headphone jack off the Focusrite to try and see if I was getting signal. I was having a really hard time getting signal out of the Focusrite into the computer, but I got it. But I plugged in the headphones. The Focusrite's got a headphone jack, so you can, at least make sure that there's signal there. And there is. So then I knew that it was either a cable issue or something minor, which is nice. But I'm going into my Mackie board here, just into a channel. Any old channel works. I think it's a tape input or something. A little dB plus on the playback there. Looks like the M audio is set up at a reasonable level. I have not heard this. I have no idea what's going to happen here, but let's make sure that those dry tracks are muted. We are going to rip it from the top.
My tempo, and I fear where others may place. On your hand, on your shirt, on your arm, and on your heart. Passion speaks louder than a rational retort. The substance alters reality, and you feel it.
So, rough idea of kind of what it sounds like when you reamp. I'm not really, I don't know what to think about the K. The G&L with the K, boy, that is freaking grungy. Like, I wasn't quite going for that much distortion. I adjusted that gain level a few times and went pretty low, and it still sounds really blown out, but at the same time the tone's different, that's for sure. So post a mix when it's done. Thanks for checking this out.